We're back, and man, my brain is tired. You know how after you've spent a weekend assembling cheap furniture, you feel you need a vacation just to recover from the assembly process? That's what reading Courageous, the third book in Jack Campbell's Lost Fleet series, felt like. It's a beautifully constructed piece of high-pressure machinery that left me mentally wiped out, but completely thrilled. If the first book, Dauntless, was Geary coming back from the dead to fix a broken ship, and Fearless was Geary getting slapped with a fish of internal political drama, Courageous is the moment the universe stops messing around and just dropped the entire kitchen sink on its head. I mean, I thought the stakes were high before. Running from the Syndic Navy with a duct tape and well-powered fleet was, I thought, peak tension. I was wrong. I was so gloriously wrong. The transition from Fearless to this book is as seamless as a professional magician's sleight of hand. It just continues. There's no gentle ramp up. You are immediately back in the trenches, deep in enemy territory, with Captain Blackjack Geary leading a fleet that is rapidly running out of everything but problems. Let's talk about the structure, as it points to a plot that is less of a meandering novel and more of a relentless tactical simulation. It's a non-stop, grindhouse tour of hostile star systems. The pattern is familiar. They make a jump, Geary pulls off some genius maneuver that saves 80% of his ships, they discover they're desperately low on fuel and parts, they execute a daring raid, and then they repeat the process, often with a bigger, angrier Syndic fleet waiting on the other side. This constant loop, while structurally solid, can occasionally feel a little repetitive, like watching the same spectacular goal replay 7 times in a row. It's great, but you start anticipating the next desperate supply run. The pacing, however, is a different animal entirely. While the structure is repetitive, the pace is unyielding. It moves at the speed of light, literally, and you can feel Geary's constant anxiety dripping off the pages. The tactical sequences are dense, wonderfully detailed, and exactly why people love this series. You're not just reading about ships exploding, you're reading about relativistic maneuvers, the strategic deployment of limited resources, and the geometric precision needed to avoid a cataclysmic full fleet wipeout. Sometimes I swear I could smell the burning propellant and feel the G-forces. It's so meticulous that you feel you need to pause and check the schematics. But the absolute game-changing reason this book deserves a medal, and the reason it shakes off any feelings of being repetitive, is the twist. Just when I had my Syndic attack bingo card ready, Campbell introduces a threat so far beyond the Alliance Syndic war, it makes the whole conflict look like a playground spat. It's like being completely stressed about paying your rent and then finding out a meteor is going to hit the planet next Tuesday. Suddenly, who cares about the rent? Introducing this other faction, something ancient and terrifyingly powerful, turns the entire series from a gritty military drama into a full-blown existential horror story. It raises the stakes from how do we win this war to how do we keep the human species from becoming stardust. It's a masterful move in world building that gives Geary a whole new, much heavier set of problems to chew on. Now let's talk about the man himself, Captain Blackjack Geary. As the central pillar, he's still the same impossibly perfect strategic leader we know and stress alongside. His character development isn't about him learning to be competent. He was born competent, probably with a tiny admiral's hat on. It's about him dealing with the sheer crushing weight of his own legend. He constantly struggles with his status as a mythical figure, trying to remain a moral, flawed human being, while everyone around him expects him to be a god of war. It's a fantastic internal conflict, but it means he sails awfully close to the tugboat of two perfect protagonists. I love him, but I occasionally want him to misplace his tactical pad or forget someone's name just to prove he's not an AI designed for naval brilliance. The supporting cast unfortunately suffers under the weight of Geary's brilliance. There's Johnny, Ryan, and the others are crucial, but they often feel like they're there to provide context or ask the precise question needed to set up Geary's next strategic monologue. They are sounding boards for genius, not always fully fleshed out human beings. It's functional, but it limits the emotional resonance. This functional tag also extends to the dialogue. It's clipped, efficient, and 99% business. No one has time for small talk, which makes sense because there's a Syndic missile wing inbound every time they try to take a coffee break. The tone is intense, exhausted, and professional. I'm not asking for a stand-up routine, but a little more personal flavor would have helped ease the constant grinding tension. The themes of command responsibility and the moral toll of war shine through the dialogue though. Every decision Geary makes is a choice between two terrible outcomes, and the terse exchanges highlight the extreme pressure cooker they're all living in. The Ryan and Geary dynamic continues to simmer nicely, offering a subtle political and personal complexity that is a welcome break from the space battles. And moving on to the writing style, it's classic Jack Campbell, clear, concise, and incredibly effective. It's essentially a highly tuned military instrument. It delivers complex information without being overly fancy. This is a strength, but I noticed, once again, the recurring vocabulary and internal phrasing popping up. I swear, if I read the phrase hammer blow or the weight of the legend one more time, I might start an in-book tally. And since we're revisiting old habits, I have to talk about the weapons again. In my review of Fearless, I couldn't stop laughing about the baffling use of futuristic grapeshot and cannonballs in a sci-fi universe with faster than light travel. Well, guess what? They're back. I've decided to stop trying to make sense of this universe's odd, endearing quirk. It's hilariously absurd from a physics standpoint, like flying an F-35 fighter jet and deciding your best secondary weapon is a medieval battering ram. But it is Campbell's thing. It's part of the series' DNA now, and if you can roll your eyes and focus on the strategic genius rather than the strangeness, you'll be fine. The setting, world building, and mood are where the book truly delivers its knockout punch. The mood is constant, low-level dread. This isn't a grand space adventure, it's a desperate logistical nightmare. You feel the scarcity of everything. The ships are damaged, the crew is exhausted, and every jump is a roll of the dice. That desperation is a brilliant backdrop for the new, terrifying scope of the universe. Introducing the new faction doesn't just add a new enemy, it fundamentally changes the tone. The world instantly feels bigger, older, and infinitely more dangerous. The Syndics were just bullies. These new guys are a force of nature. It's a fantastic way to keep the world fresh, ensuring the series doesn't settle into the predictable patterns of an endless war. So, is Courageous a worthy chapter? Absolutely. While I have my minor grievances like the overly functional dialogue and the occasional feeling that I'm rereading a battle plan I just read 100 pages ago, Courageous is the moment the series stops being merely good military sci-fi and becomes essential military sci-fi. Campbell takes a huge risk by introducing a completely new, massive threat, and that risk pays off in spades. It completely upends the geopolitical dynamics established in the first two books, adding a layer of terrifying, existential weight that makes the previous conflicts feel like a warm-up exercise. If you enjoy the tension, the tactical brilliance, and the burdened leadership of Geary in Dauntless and Fearless, you are going to be glued to this one. It's a non-stop, high-octane blast that successfully transitions the series from a grim war of attrition to a fight for the survival of the human race. Strap in, check your fuel gauge, and prepare to be mentally exhausted, because the stakes have never been higher.